What up, it's your boy T-Bird here in the reaction. So, now, I done did all the top 10 iconic female singers. So we did the top 10 iconic female singers of the 90s, then went back to the 80s, then went to the 2000s, and then I did 2010. So, are there any, do you think there are any left? I think so. I told you there was one more of the top 10 iconic female singers I had surprised to, and here it is. This is the top 10 iconic female singers of the 50s to 70s. So we're going to take a look at the top 10 iconic figures put together by Miss Mojo from the previous 3 decades before the 80s, though. And I did say one particular may be featured in this countdown from the 80s one, and it's probably going to be Tina Turner. Y'all see the cover that's going to feature Diana Ross as well too. But let's see who else was one of the iconic singers in there. I can see somebody like Etta James, Aretha Franklin, Barbra Streisand probably as well too. But while I keep making prediction, let's just see what Miss Mojo got. Without further ado, let's check it out. Carole King, oh yeah, y'all can't think about her.
The upper echelon of female voices from a not so distant past.
Oh yeah, the bell, pay the bell.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 iconic women.
Hey, there she go, I told you, she might be in this. I told you. Diamond.
For this list, we're counting down the most progressive and timeless female artists from the 1950s to the 1970s. Women that sang
damn! Wasn't she on both? Yeah, she might be the first one to be on this and the 2000s. I think she was on 2000s, I think, or 90s. Ooh!
Number 10,
Joni Mitchell.
Reading the news and it's all bad. They won't give peace a chance.
Raised in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, this emotive songstress emerged with a complex, eclectic sound in the late 60s.
I was a free man.
I heard your song. I heard your song.
With the counterculture movement underway, most notably in California, Joni brought something fresh to the scene, writing about timely issues in a most inquisitive way.
They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
By the 70s, Mitchell would incorporate jazz and jazz musicians into her arsenal, and released 8 albums during that span. But it was 1970s Ladies of the Canyon and her follow-up Blue that demonstrated her supreme artistry and ability to connect with all demographics.
Will you take me as I am? Will you take me as I am? Will you take me as I am?
Number 9.
Dolly Parton. Dolly.
In 1967, this country legend introduced herself with an album called Hello, I'm Dolly.
Wow, she was
While she
really
didn't
there.
have the initial reach of more radio-friendly female pop stars, her ability to write songs that tell a story was second to none. Case in point, I Will Always Love You, released in 1974.
There is one. Before Whitney.
Visually, Dolly obviously commands attention, and her magnetic personality helps sell the product. Yet she's undeniably one of the most brilliant songwriters of her generation. And while Dolly would ultimately cross over into film during the 80s and become a superstar, it was her modest recordings of the 60s and 70s that forever changed the landscape of country music. Number 8.
Stevie Nicks.
In the scope of popular music, Stevie Nicks is simply a defining figure of her genre.
However,
in early 1975, she was known, if at all, for her work with Lindsey Buckingham. Of course, this was before each of them joined Fleetwood Mac. And so, through her first 3 studio releases with the new group, Nicks wrote some of the most beloved pop rock hits of the time. made even more poignant through her hypnotic live performances that helped shape a place for women in rock and roll. Even if her personal life wasn't always so easy, she made everything look so easy on stage, and natural across the board.
Is that I think it is?
Number 7.
Patti Smith. Woo! I never heard this one. Y'all got me this one.
Before there was pop rock as we know it now, there was Patti Smith. In 1975, she released Horses, combining a rock aesthetic with poetry while inadvertently and slowly changing the world around her.
I think this is look her up a little bit.
Within a 5-year span, Smith released 4 landmark records, and regardless of their commercial success, it was Smith's edgy persona and creative vision that fueled the scene. And as a result, countless musicians often turn to Smith's music these days to connect deeper with their own art and to connect with a truly honest musician.
This lonely Britney. Diana,
Number 6,
yes.
Diana Ross.
Mommy of Britney from what's that one group?
When you think of Motown, plenty of influential male artists come to mind, but the fact remains that the Supremes were the most successful Motown group of the 60s. For many fans, Diana Ross provided the soundtrack to their lives,
what's the group she
all
from?
the while bringing comfort to devoted listeners in a turning point of American history. Then came the 70s, as Diana branched out on her own. Not only releasing a vast collection of successful albums, but also lending her talents to the world of cinema.
I'm on my way to find a way. Get me back home.
Above all, Diana brought life to her lyrics on stage, thus making her the ultimate triple threat of her time. Number 5.
Janis Joplin. There she go. I was wondering if Miss J gonna be in this. Big brother in the home come. Oh, she spelled the British? I didn't know that.
The Voice. Just 2 weeks after the 1970 death of Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin passed away in a Hollywood motel, yet her musical legacy had already been established.
I thought she was her own host. I didn't know she was part of a group.
Through her deeply moving live performances as the lead singer of Big Brother and the Holding Company, and through the vocal grit that infused would-be classics, Joplin managed to inspire contemporaries during her brief run at the forefront of rock music.
I didn't know she was part of a group. Wow, I never knew that.
And today, the Janis aesthetic can be heard and visualized at any coffee shop throughout the United States and beyond.
Wow, I didn't know that. She just put her name, Voice. There she go. I told y'all. What did I tell y'all? That she's gonna be on both the 80s. She's gonna be on the 80s and she's gonna be on this one. I told y'all.
Number 4, Tina Turner.
Ooh, Ike.
Coming to fame with Ike Turner, Tina's a multifaceted woman that knew how to get it done. With a career dating back to the 50s, Tina Turner presented an alternative sound to the more popular R&B sounds of her time, and she left it all on stage throughout the 60s. Leading up to the duo's most successful release entitled Workin' Together.
Working together, we can make a change. Working together, we can help better things.
Of course, the title didn't necessarily reflect reality, and Tina later embraced Buddhism to cope with the rather tumultuous relationship, as she established herself as a true independent woman with 4 iconic 70s releases.
Oh, she did these songs all by herself afterwards later on. Okay.
Beyonce demonstrated the lasting legacy of Tina Turner.
I thought she did this doing soul thing in the 80s. I know she started the soul thing in the 70s. Okay. Miss Mona, you put me on some shit today. Etta.
Number 3, Etta James. It's all too natural to correlate Ella James to a mega popular single and album, At Last.
There you go. Everybody's song.
My love has come along.
But just as Bob Dylan would thoroughly revolutionize the folk scene from 1960 to 1965, Etta transformed both the blues and the R&B genres, most notably through her jaw-dropping contralto vocals.
Baby, 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 baby,
Okay.
baby, I'd rather be a black girl.
The 70s presented a variety of personal problems, as the decade did for many of her fellow artists. Yet Etta's authenticity and bravery alone made her a woman to admire, and her supremely polished vocals allowed future pop musicians to understand the true art of a finely tuned vocal.
Number 2.
Summertime.
Number 2.
Ella! I think about Ella. Oh, Ella.
And the living is easy.
Hey, who's gonna be number 1? It's gonna be tough.
Though many female artists have innovated their respective genres over the
Good
decades,
pick.
Lady Ella was truly the first lady of song.
In the sunshine.
It's not making me talk about her, that's why. It's crazy. We ain't talk about her, but don't
Emerging
talk
as a
about her.
teenage
Like,
performer during the early 30s, Ella Fitzgerald paid her dues in the industry, all the while struggling as a female artist with no precedent to study. And so when pop music took on a different sound in the 50s, the Queen of Jazz was more relevant than ever, as a vocal inspiration for any female artist with a desire to improve their craft. And she even brought Frank Sinatra out of retirement in the 70s. Not many people have that type of dominance.
that is some dominance right there. Now, see the honorable missions.
Before we unveil our top pick,
Barbara! I want she to be in it somehow. Mama loves her. My God, she loves her. Sorry, Carpenter. Billy! I was like, say, how do I throw it in about Ella, but Billy.
I've loved
Patsy Cline, wow. That's good. Good throwing in for the honorable mission.
Oh, what a crazy
I heard about
world
that,
we're living in.
Oh, she's listen to yeah, because she more popular in the 80s and 90s. That's why. Donna, I'm like, what is that? How she's gonna be with Sue? Who's the one? Is it Aretha? Yes! Oh, the Queen!
You're no good.
You know it?
I'm grateful.
You know it?
You're lying.
You right?
And you're cheating.
You're cheating.
some people learn to sing, and some are naturally good enough to perform with the best. But Aretha Franklin is in a
Yes, the
category all
Queen.
her own.
You make me feel like a natural woman.
It's not that she
Kudos, Miss
didn't pick up
Mojo,
her
for this
features
one.
from her predecessors
Kudos.
like any committed singer would. It's just that Aretha was obviously born to sing.
What you want? Baby, I got it. What you need? You know I got it.
By 1960, at the age of 18, the journey began.
Damn, she was
However,
18.
given the racism of the American 60s and an industry dominated by male executives, even a voice like Aretha's took some time to earn.
Like, yo, she was like 18, sound like this. You think she was a grown woman? She was 18. Probably 17 when she recorded the song. Wow.
The proper amount of R-E-S-P-E-C-T. The
Damn.
famous single dropped in 1967, well, there was no turning back. A voice like hers can always warm the heart and
It's my
touch
shit
the
right
soul
there.
of
It's my
even the
favorite
most hardened individual.
Nah, let's see
So,
that.
do you agree with our selections?
Gladys.
Who do you think is the
Oh,
most
she
iconic
should
female
be
singer
our
from the 50s
mission.
to 70s?
She's the front woman of a male band.
For more musical top 10s published daily, be sure to subscribe to Ms. Mojo.
That guy used to hold an album with Barbara. This was I would say this was a good one. a very debatable one. Only because they put 3 decades in one video. So this was very debatable to see who to put. It was tough. This definitely had to be tough on the people behind Miss Mojo to put that together, man. For real, that had to be tough. It was so many iconic female singers around them 3 decades to separate the break it down just to 10. Like some you expect some you expect there, and some like, ooh, I didn't expect her to be that ranker or not being there, and some for like the younger generation that wasn't born around the time, had people you didn't heard about, like Patti Smith. I never heard about her till this. Though I ain't never knew nothing about her to this day. Like, I mean, and I ain't know that Janis Joplin was part of a group. I thought she was solo on top. Everybody here, I kept hearing about Janis Joplin. I didn't know she was part of a group though. Like Miss Mojo, you put me onto some stuff about some of these iconic singers you put in this one. There was a music history lesson here. Shoot. But other than that, the ones they put on there that I did know about, kudos and that though, the honorable mentions. I mean, yeah, people that's an honorable mention you would have thought would be in the countdown, but he wasn't. Even people that wasn't in the countdown, but they showed outside the countdown, you would have thought it'd be even honorable mention on countdown. But that's how great I'm not sure. Let me not say that, because I be saying that music back then was great. I'm not going to shut down any generation of music though. All music in all generations is great in their own way. But I mean, but that's how iconic them 3 decades was though. I'll say that, boys. But other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bird signing off. One love.